Okay, this is just videos for your college algebra final exam. I'm going to be moving through this pretty quickly because y'all have a handout for the exam review. You got the problems from Hines, it has the answers at the back, and then you have the solutions that I've already worked out on paper. So this is just going to be real quick, okay? I guess you can rewind it and listen to it again. I will be double checking myself just to make sure I got the answers right, so just know that. So if you hear me scrounging around for paper or for a calculator, that's what it is. Okay, so just getting started here. Solve the equation. I mean, that's basic stuff. All you're doing is, getting your x's together. So we got 2x, then move your 19. Just make sure that you don't do so much in your head that you do something stupid, okay? So show enough work that you get it right and you don't make crazy errors. So we do need a -9 there. So it expands. So you've got to distribute. So 20x plus 15, negative 18x minus 30, what is that? 30, woo, 36. Let me go up here. Not 32, it's 36. Okay, so that'd be a -15. Now collect your like terms. So 20 and negative 18 makes 2x. And then I got a 15 and a -36. I don't know what that is. So 15 minus 36, -21, equals -15. All right, so add the 21 to the other side. So let's see here, 21 minus, I know that, that's 6. Okay, so divide that out, I got x is 3. And there's nothing restricting that value, so that's good. Now, whenever you do this one, you do have restrictions because it's a rational function. So before you get started, you do want to make sure that you factor this part. So two numbers that multiply to 8 and add to 6 is 4 and 2, which you should have been highly suspicious of those two things. Oops, they're both plus signs, my bad, because of these. Okay, now, but those give you restrictions as well, remember? So if you set those things equal to 0, that's y equals -4, or it can't be, and y also cannot be -2. So we got to watch out for those. If they pop up in the end, you got to cancel them out. Not allowed to have them because that would put a 0 in the bottom of your fraction. So if you'll remember the way we went through it, and I know different people did them different ways, and I'm good with that as long as you get the right answer. We're basically distributing by the common denominator. So I've got y plus 4 times y plus 2, and that's in the top of the fraction, y'all. So you go through and you distribute through there. When you do that, because I think some of you got confused if I'm remembering right. Oops. Okay, so when I multiply that times my first fraction, the y plus 4s actually cancel out. And you are only left with the 25 on the top of that fraction times, it's the other term, the other factor, y plus 2. Now you move to the next one, and the y plus 2s would cancel out, and you're left with the 10 times, what is that? The other one, y plus 4. All right, bring down your equals, and you just keep on going. So I've got the 30 from the top of that fraction. Well, it has a y plus 2 in the bottom, so the y plus 2's cancel, and you're left with, again, the other one, y plus 4. Bring down your minus, and it's -5. But when you get to the last one, it has both, so it cancels both. So the only thing that you're getting in that term is the -5. At that point, it's just a regular old equation, just like the other one. So we got 25y plus, what is that, 50 plus 10y plus 40 equals 30y plus 120 minus 5. Okay? Collect like terms, clean this thing up. So we've got 35y, 50 and 40 give me 90. That's going to be 30y. And if I put those two together, was that 115? Okay, so if I get my y's together, I got 35 over here and 30 over there. So subtract them, that's 5y. Subtract 90 on both sides. That's going to give me, what is that, 25? So y is 5. Is that okay? You got to remember, double check. Is it okay? Yeah, it's not one of the restricted values, so we're good with that. So it's just y equals 5. Okay, now solve the formula for x. So basically you're just trying to get x by itself. Keep in mind, you can turn this thing into a fraction. It's so much easier if you have a fraction equals a fraction because then it's a proportion. All you have to do is cross multiply. So the top over here times the bottom over there. So r, v, and then again, cross multiply. So you've got m minus x times the 1. Well, that didn't do anything. Now our goal is to get x by itself. Well, the m's in the way. So the m has got to move to the other side. So if he's positive on this side, he's going to be negative on that side. Well, that gives me negative x. I don't want negative x. So basically, I'm just wanting to distribute a negative times the whole thing. However you visualize that is perfectly fine. Basically, all the signs are changing. So you got a negative RV plus M equals X. Now, you could do it that way, but most people aren't going to leave it like that. Most folks are going to turn that thing around. And y'all need to be on up and up that whenever you distribute a negative through a difference, it just turns the difference around. So, I mean, both of these answers are correct, this one and this one, but the last one is the more formal, traditional way of writing it. Okay, so another one, solve the formula for R. Well, this harkens back to the other problem where we had rational function. You gotta clear it of fractions. Multiply through by your common denominator, which is R, K, and J. Well, when you do that, and you multiply that times the first one, keep in mind this is over 1. The R's would cancel, and you would have the 1 from the top times the K and the J. All right, so then we go to the next one. Well, you're going to have the 1 from the top, and the K's are going to cancel, so you're left with R and J. Then you go to the next term, and you'll have the 1 from the top, the J's would cancel, and you've got R, K. So you finally got it to where there's not any fractions. But our job is to get R by itself. Well, we have a problem because we have 2 R's. So you have to do your little trick, and y'all know my favorite F word. Okay, factor out the R, that leaves J plus K. Now that you have one single little R, you can solve for it. So divide through by that sum. You got to divide it on both sides. So the only reason I'm rewriting it is to just kind of make my answer look a little bit better. But you had the answer right here. All I did was rewrite it. But you might need to practice those. Okay, so here we go. An executive invests $39,000, some at 7%, some at 6% annual interest if he receives an annual return of, I can't see that. There we go. $2,530. How much is invested at each rate? This is based on I equals PRT, not those big fancy ones that we did at the end with compound interest and all this. This is simple interest. So that's the reason it's using this one. So this is called simple interest. Okay. All right. So, but this is where, we had to have the 2 different accounts. He earned his interest, what he earned, that's this right here, annual return. So he got $25.30 is what he was bringing in. Well, we had 2 accounts. He had one account 7%. So, okay, at 7%, we don't know, let's see here, we don't know how much he put in there. So we're just going to say that that's X. That's how much he had in there. No reason for the parentheses. Sorry about that. Plus, then he's got 6%. Now here you need parentheses because you don't know how much it was, but you know how much the total was. The total was $39,000. Well, you want the balance. So if you all remember, we had one of them as X and one of them as total minus X. So that's where I'm getting this, is the total minus X problems. We didn't worry with the T because it was talking about annual, so we were talking about T is 1, so we never really put anything in there for T. But this gives the setup for the problem, and yes, I would know how to work this one. This is a traditional problem, so it would be great to have in your little arsenal. So that's 0.07x plus, okay, handy dandy calculator, here we go, 0.06 times 39,000. That would be 2340 minus 0.06x. Well, getting your like terms together, that gives me 0.01x. And I'm going to subtract this guy over here. So minus 2340. So 2530 minus 2340 is 190. I'm going to divide that by 0.01. So divided by 0.01. And I got 19,000. Now, that doesn't answer the whole question. Remember, I chose to put X with 7,000, so I need to come to the blank for 7%, excuse me. 7% is 19,000, and so that leaves me a balance of 39 minus 19 gives me 20,000 that had to have been in at 6%. Okay, going on. It says equal amounts are invested at 2, 7, and 9% annual interest. So it's the same setup, but we're putting the same amount in each one. So it's I equals, and then it's PRT plus PRT plus PRT. Okay, but the thing is, for the principal, it's X on all of them because they're all the same. His annual yield was 702, so that goes over here. And we know it's 2%, and then we've got 7%, and then we got 9%. And the reason it boiled down to that is, like I just said, this thing says equal amounts. So the principal in each one of them, we don't know what it is, but they're all X because they're equal. And then we've got the RN for the rate, and we're dealing with annual, so again, T is 1, so that's the reason we just kind of overlooked the T. So put them all together, that would be a 0.9 for these two. 0.9 is a 1, oops, that'd be not 1 point, it would be 0.18x. 702, okay, so let's divide that out. Oops, I wrote that funny, didn't I? That's a hot mess. So 702 divided by 0.18 is 3,900. Okay, now what did it ask for? If the three investments yield a total of 702 annual interest, find the total investment. I did not find the total investment. That is not the answer to this problem. This is 1/3 of the investment, because this is what I stuck in each account, okay? So you have to take that thing right there and say 3 times it, because I've got 3 accounts with that same amount in it. So 3,900 times 3 is 11,700. That's my answer. Okay? Yeah, just checking my answer and it's right. Okay, so go to the next one. Candy and Tim share a paper route. It takes Candy 57 minutes to deliver all the papers, whereas Tim takes 114 minutes. Tim's got problems. How long does it take them when they work together? Okay, what that means is this is a rate of work problem. You should have identified it as 1. So these are the ones that were always X over how long plus X over how long equals 1 complete job. And they're always set up that way. Now, I don't know if 57 goes into 114 or not. I think it actually does. So I'm just sitting here saying 114 divided by 57, and yay, it does. So my common denominator is actually 114. When I multiply 3 by that, it's just like those other problems we've done. 114 times this, 57 goes in there 2 times, so that makes 2x. Then 114 times this one, the 114s cancel out, I just get x. But don't forget to do that. I gotta get 114 over here. So that's 3x equals 114. So divide by 3, 114.
Michael Rushi, if you're in the building, please report to the office now. Michael Rushi.
That's what you get for making videos after school. Okay, so 114 divided by 3 was 38. So it takes 38 minutes if they work together. And that one is correct. All right, so let's see if we can worm one more in. Probably not, but let's see here. One morning, John drove 5 hours before stopping to eat after lunch. I tell you what, there's no way we're going to get this in under the 15-minute mark. So let's go ahead and stop, and then we'll start back over with this one.